Hey nerds, welcome back to CW's Flash, Theories and Conspiracies. I'm Brian from Good Nerd Bad Nerd. This week was just a fun episode all around. A lot of highlights, not too much new stuff that was being revealed, so we're going to have to kind of dig deep to see what we can find. But highlights from this episode. First, man, Barry has no game. Seeing him try to talk to Patty was just awful. But then Barry as a gangster or as a criminal, hacker was pretty funny. Seeing him impersonate what he thought was a bad seed, a criminal was fun. But then that talk between Joe and Iris, that got me. That made me got me a little choked up. But so those were some highlights from the episode. But really, what did we see and what can we glean from this episode in the larger picture? So first, Captain Cold's dad. He's really not in the comics. He's in the backstory of Captain Cold. It's pretty accurate. He was an abusive father. That we know. That is from the comics. They embellished that a little by then putting him as this kind of master, notorious criminal. But from the comics, he is an abusive father to Captain Cold. So that part they did get right. Now with Snart, the big thing here was showing that he isn't 100% a bad guy. And this whole episode was to set up why Snart might even be willing to join the Legends of Tomorrow and that team that's going to be fighting Savage. So this was an important episode because for the longest time after the series was announced and we knew that Cold and Heatwave were on it, it just didn't make sense why he would join up with that team to save the future. But now we know that Snart really will do anything to protect his sister, and if he thinks the cause or the danger is there and that it is a danger to his sister, he will step up. We don't know why Heatwave, his partner Mick Rory, is going to be joining the Legends, but he may just be doing it for the fun. He seems kind of an adrenaline junkie. So that hopefully we'll get more from Heatwave before the Legends of Tomorrow show starts. Now, moving on to Dr. Stein. Last week he fainted, and this week it seemed like everything was better. I think all of us knew something would be up because Ronnie isn't around, and that's half of the Firestorm Matrix. So Dr. Stein is not a complete person at the moment. As soon as he had merged with Ronnie, they were two parts of one being. And with Ronnie either dead or in Earth 2, I'm leaning more towards Earth 2 at the moment, but with Ronnie gone, Dr. Stein is in trouble. So there's going to be two options here. One is that they are going to have to go to Earth 2 to see if they can find Ronnie. And the second one is that someone else is going to step in to take his place. And that person would be Jason Rush. And Jason we have met in the episode where Firestorm is really kind of looked into. I think the episode's called Nuclear Man or something like that. Jason is there and kind of gives us that exposition on what Project Firestorm was. And in the comics, Jason at one point is Firestorm. He's part of Firestorm. So it makes sense. I know I've talked about this before, but with the Doctor in trouble, they're going to go to Jason because he has more expertise in the Firestorm project than anyone else besides Stein. So that's very possible. Now, Jason was played by the actor Luke Rodriguez. I'm sorry if I'm botching that name, but it'll be interesting. So hard to say which way they're going to go with this. My bet is that Jason is going to step in for the time being, and it's going to be a little bit further down the road before we find out what really happened with Ronnie. But that takes us to that final tag at the end of the episode where we see the portal underneath Star Labs and Harrison Wells jumps through. This is a big moment, and it's going to have a lot of repercussions down the road, but it's I guess the question is, how did that happen? And we have to believe that the portal under Star Labs has its mirror portal is also under Star Labs. It doesn't make sense in my mind, for the portals to just be random all over the place. Um, so, since Harrison Wells is in charge and running his Star Labs there, as soon as that portal appeared, I can guarantee that he knew about it and he was probably studying it. So he was probably working on his own ways to balance it and solidify it so that travel was possible. And then when that book or that backpack or whatever it was that Stein threw the portal came through, he knew it was possible to go back and forth. So that's why he traveled, or that's how he was able to travel through. We don't know why he did. But obviously the repercussions, we have the physical look-alike of the man who was responsible for ruining Barry's life as a kid, the death of Eddie Thawne, and realistically the death of Ronnie because of what he convinced Barry to do and all of the singularity and all that. So it's a man who's really, I mean, and let's not forget, he killed Cisco in an alternate timeline. So the entire team is going to have issues with this Harrison Wells, even though he's really Harrison Wells. And we know that he is Harrison Wells and not Thawne. Grant Gustin gave an interview, and it's like, yeah, this is Wells before Thawne took him over, and he's going to be a lot similar to that. And he basically said, yeah, this Wells is just kind of an arrogant douche. So it'll be interesting to see how this character plays out and what this does to the team, and also if this Wells knows Jay Garrick. So that's what we got this episode. What do you think? What are you looking forward to? And what do you hope we get from this Wells and traveling back and forth? And personally, I hope we get some more Zoom soon. So for Brian, I'm Brian for CW's Theories and Flash Theories and Conspiracies from Good Nerd Bad Nerd.